Hey Campus Georgia, back in the man cave. Looking at this guy. It's an old knife, well built. Don't know anything more about that except it was forged in the USA. That's the only marking on it. It was missing a blade, it had a broken spring on it, and I really wanted to take it apart, reduce it, but I've been struggling with that sort of thing lately. But you guys came through. Let's check it out. So it was late last night. Wasn't paying attention and didn't press record. Never a good thing. Basically, I showed you the knife, which showed it originally, the missing pieces and all that good stuff. But fortunately, I found some video from a previous video I did. So I'm going to put that in now so you can have a look at it and then we'll have on. If you watched my last video, this guy, pretty sure this is a Camelus. There's no markings on it. The only identifiers are forged USA. A beautiful knife. I mean, solid, everything. It's got a broken spring and a missing blade. So I plan on taking it apart and thinning it down, taking out the missing parts. And I think I'm going to use the razor blade trick to do that. Okay, like I said, I've got the knife here. A lot of you had mentioned to take a knife apart, you can do the razor trick. Well, I don't have a razor, but I got this. It's a leather working tool I've never used. It came in a kit. It's kind of sharp. I'm going to give that a try and see if it works. Let's see if we can get this apart. So allegedly, I have to put it in and hit it in and it'll split it apart. Now, to be honest, I'm not sure whereabouts I should put it in, so I'm guessing here. You know what, I'm going to go from this side because those are the tools coming out. So let's see. If I put it here, I'm going to be careful this thing don't slip and cut me. And then tap it. Oh. Huh. That went. That actually pushed it apart. Look at that. Just those couple of taps. I wonder. Okay, I'm going to keep doing this. What's the worst that can happen, right? Oh, it's in. Did I go through the pin? Not already. There you go. Look at that. Huh. Wow, it cuts the pin. Now, what do? Do I work my way down here? There's another pin there. I don't know what I'm doing here, but we're going to go for it. Wow, living large here. I can't believe that worked so well. Can I get these out? I want it flat. Look at that. Wow. Okay, we're going to work on it. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Look at that. Look. Wow. And it actually, yeah, it messed up my thing. But hey, I can always clean that up and use it again, right? Look at this. Look at that. Now I'm going to do the same thing there, right? because I've got to take that tool off. Look at that. That is unreal. It's a steel liner. Look at that. See that? That's unusual. Steel. Man, these things are solid. This must have been a can opener or a bottle opener. See that? And here's the spring that was broken easily. Oh, there we go. See that? It broke. I wonder if I can use these same pins. We've got to take these pins out though. Okay, so I knocked the pins out. That goes like that. Man, they're just a little too short. That's a pity. Here we go. I forgot to take this spring out. Well, it's not a spring, it's a liner. It came off. So, we don't need that. All we have is that one liner. This guy. Okay. So now they match. See that? And then this one. And there you go. It's not all the way in, but look at that. That pin's going to go all the way, I think. I'm going to squeeze it. So I can't get those pins long enough. This one is. See that? But this one's too short and this one's very close to pin. Very close. I'm going to have to replace those pins. But because these ones are in, makes it easier because we would just use the new pin to chase these through. We won't have to deal with the problem with trying to get the spring. Time for me to go to bed. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. So here we are the next morning. Got some rest. Stayed up a little late last night. Started looking at what you guys were talking about and that. And thought, you know what, I want to look at that. And then I got into it. You know how that goes. But here it is here. Okay, this is where we are now. Basically, as you saw, I took it apart. Then put it back together, hoping that the pins would be long enough. Well, they aren't. So I've got everything I need here. What I'm going to do is replace the pins. Take it apart, clean it up a little bit before I put it back together again. So I'm going to take it apart again, leave the old pins in. I want to clean the blades, get everything cleaned up nice inside, and then put it back together, put the new pins in, clean up the rest, sharpen the blades, yada, 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 yada. So I'm going to take it apart again. Wow, I can just push it in. This fancy tool turned out to be useful. Came in a set that I had and threw it aside. It's for cleaning up pieces of leather. I don't do that sort of thing. And turned out it did have a use. So there you have the insides there. And as you can see, we'll have a look at what's in there, clean them all up and put it back together again. So here are the pieces that I took out. This is a steel liner. This is the broken spring. It snapped in the middle for some reason. It was totally missing, as you saw. Here is the awl from it. And then here is the broken blade. And here you can see what it says there. I'll be keeping that stuff for just in case. Might be able to use it somewhere else. So now we got this apart, and what I've done is when I pulled it apart, I left the brass liner on here. I was really nervous about taking it apart, and I assumed that was the right position to do it, behind the liner. So the scale and everything is attached to the brass liner. All I want to do is just clean it up, make it nice and smooth, clean the holes out. There's little bits in there, and it's kind of getting hard to get the pins in and out. But I just want to smooth everything out on the inside. And here is a good look at how these things work. I'm fascinated by this. You can see here how there's spring on the blade. Here is the small thin steel liner, and you can see on this side, if you look on this side here, there's one liner and there's one the other side, just on the inside of the brass liner. I wanted to leave them in. I thought it should be like that. So I'm going to pop this off, pull it apart, let's clean it and put it back together again. This pin is really messed up, so getting these things off is kind of difficult. And what I'm going to do is clean off the edge of that pin before we put it back together, because it's going to be a problem knocking it out. And now you can see here is the spring, so that when you pull on the blade, you'll see here the spring gives it that tension, and this is going to line up with the inside of the spring, and then you can't move it, but you can release it and the spring releases it. That works both ways. So I don't really want to take that part up. I don't want to take that apart, because putting this spring back on there, yeah, that's a problem, because it's under tension on that middle pin. So I just want to clean up like this areas and things like that. And this gives me the opportunity to get in on the ricassos on the blades and clean up, smooth out these things a little bit. You can see they're a little beat up. I just want to get the little nicks out of it. I need a pencil. Just want to clean this stuff off. See how well that pencil works? It takes all the thick, heavy buildup off. But it doesn't mark the steel because it's not as hard as the steel. I will eventually take a knife totally apart. So I'm just going to wipe it off. These blades came pretty sharp. I don't know what they used to sharpen it, but it's a very rough sharp. Might have been a fine file if you look at that, the edge. They feel sharp. Get all those parts that are going to be hard to get to, smooth everything off so we can get a nice clean fit. Just a quick rub, nothing special. Is this really necessary? I should take the knife apart, but I'm scared. The way things have been going lately, they actually got a little bent. Just going to round it a little bit, make it easier to put it back together. This pin's going anyway, so I'm not worried about it, but I've got to knock it through. This is the part that I'm hoping it's because the pin's bent. Look at that. See that? Doesn't line up, so I've got to put that in first, like that, and then squish this guy in. This liner, I've got to push it down. I got that side on and that side popped off. You got to push it in. This is very interesting. So we got that one back on. Now we got to put this on. There we go. We got it on there. I just want to squeeze it in as tight as I can. And I'll put tape on these. Is it going to help? I'm not sure, but it's the thought that counts. We got it pretty good squeezed in, and like I said, this was just wasn't long enough. We could have got through with that one. This one not so much. Now, interesting, brass, steel, steel. And look how well they did that steel. I have a brass pin, steel pin. Now what I'm going to do is I'll grind this guy just to make it a little pointy, so that when I push it through, it'll follow it through. That's the plan. Just use the Dremel, made it a little pointy, so when I smash it through here, it'll be able to follow it through. You can see it's starting to pop out there. Just want to tap that down a little bit further. Yeah, that way, if this slips, it's not going to slip onto the actual bolster. I'm really struggling with this, so I'm going to go and get a different hammer. I want to get a little bit bigger. It's a peening hammer. I think I know what the problem is. It's coming out. My vise, it's not strong enough for this. I'm going to have to go to the shed. Okay, I got a little bit more solid vise here. I don't think. I'm hoping that's going to help. Got to get it all that way through without losing it. I need to cut the pin down. Bend. Hey, look at that. Wow. It even broke my pin. My punch. What do you do? So what I did was I got some pliers and pulled on this, and it suddenly came out and the blade dropped out, which means you can see there spring has dropped. So how do we do that? I think I figured it out. I am going to have to take the brass pin out, then put this pin in. We can squeeze this, which will push it'll push the spring in, and we can get the pin in. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Now we have both pins in, and now the trick is to get the spring lined up with this hole. And I'm hoping that if I do this, put it in the vise and squeeze this, I can get the hole to line up. Now we got to test the theory. It worked. What you had to do, put these in first and then push the spring, squish it in there and line the hole up. Using a nice point there, I just tapped it right through. I'm very happy with myself right now. The spring is in there, that's for sure. Oh yeah. Let's trim these down and peen them over, right? Now we got to do these guys. These are the ones that worry me. I'm really nervous about doing this, but here's where I am. Okay, and I'm wondering if I shouldn't just leave them there and file them down, because they filled the hole. So you can see I have the pins in. They stick out a little bit. And if you remember, I showed you how they had them lined up with the bolster. I think I might be able to do that if I'm really careful. I have some small diamond files. Maybe I can try those and file them down. My single stage unknown folder. Okay, so now what I want to try and do is clean these up. They got some sharp edges on them. Got to do the blades. They need to be cleaned up, and everything needs to be polished. It's going to take a while. That looks better. Alright, I think it's time for some flits and some orange. So there you are. Looks pretty good, huh? Look at me, all proud of myself. I want to clean up these blades. If you look at the grind on the blades, yeah, they're pretty beat up. They used a very heavy grinding wheel or something on him, because it beat up the edges here, so I'm just going to touch up the edges. Alright, so there we are. My reduced unknown knife. Ha! So there you go. It turned out really nice, shined up nicely. I actually got it to work without damaging too many things. And thank you to you guys for telling me about the blade thing. That worked great. And these pins that were in here were pretty beat up. Trying to get them out was a challenge, but doing that really helped. And they all came out, all is looking good. Sharpened up the blades. There they are there. Cleaned up nicely. It's a nice knife. I can't remember the gentleman's name. I'm really bad at that. But he commented that he believes it's a Camelus. One of the reasons is Camelus used that stamp, and the steel liners, he said it's got to be Camelus, probably made for, not for the military, but he suspects that it may have been made for Sears by Camelus. You know, unfortunately there was a blade missing. Turned out great. I like this actually. I like the way it's thin like this. It cleaned up nicely, and you have a spay and a sheep's foot. And you know what? They're pretty good for whittling. So, and this bone is awesome. Look at that. Beautiful, isn't it? Really nice. Finally getting somewhere. Now I'm at the point where I'm thinking, yeah, I can take a knife apart now and probably put it back together without killing me or the knife. So that's a good thing. We're learning now. We're starting to gain momentum. Now I need to go through my junk box and see what else we can fix. Ooh, that one. And I found this guy. He's kind of a junker. Look at that. He needs some serious work. Who is it? Stripped down. I would like, look at this guy. He's beaten up. Oh, look what it says. Forest Master. I believe that is colonial. You all be safe out there. Look at me. I'm one big bandage right now. Wasn't paying attention. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. You know the story. Like I said, I'll be back. I got a lot of stuff going on. Thanks for watching. Always appreciated. And keep those ideas and things to do, how to do and that coming. Helping me out. Oh, we'll see you again soon.